So are you guys hoping that they might be recalled?
Oh yeah,
we are starting that process right now.
Yes.
So what do we think that their personal biases are?
Anti-police.
Anti-police. I mean, obviously, Carson Sanders, the lady with the story of segregation that she didn't live, she said it was because her mom had a bad interaction with a police officer.
It's brought everybody together. People that normally I might argue with on social media about politics we're all liking and commenting, and everybody's got the same goal right now.
People go down to QFC for lunch and they shoplift. QFC will call him instead of calling the police department, and then he'll bring the students back and handle with it in his own office.
Well, they're not really considering students rather than their personal beliefs, which again, it's just really upsetting and sad to see.
When's the last time you saw a cop playing music on Friday or playing hacky sack with a bunch of kids?
Being lipped up with a blonde wig. Our last meeting was conversations with the board. It's usually like all spread out. You can go to different tables to talk to people, but all of the 4 board members who voted no were literally in a corner.
Where is the data that people want him gone? We haven't seen that.
What do you think, Jerry?
I would like to know. I would like to know.
And I talked to Officer Ware a lot, just for fun.
So this video is going to be focused on a full-length conversation that I had with several students and a parent yesterday at the Bothell High School. It's in regards to the Northshore School Board's recent 4-1 decision to remove the Bothell High School resource officer. Parents and students and staff are not happy about it. You'll learn a little bit about the school board members, the 4 who voted to get rid of the resource officer. You'll learn a little bit about them in this video, but I do plan on following up with a long form video just on these school board members. I've already done a short form on Han Tran, and I didn't even scratch the surface with her, and the other ones we're finding just as much questionable stuff. So we're going to have to make a whole other video dedicated to the school board, but I wanted to focus this video on just sharing the student's voice as well as a parent's voice and letting you guys hear what's going on from their perspective and getting an idea of where they're planning to go from here.
Should stay. It's kind of only ups for the students, for the staffs, for really everyone in the school. He only brings positive, and it's upsetting that he has to leave.
Do you feel that some students may feel that their safety's at jeopardy if he leaves? Do you feel like he makes the school a safer place for everyone?
Yeah, I do. I think he makes the school a lot safer than we would without him. Having a cop on the campus makes it, since we're really open, we're really out there, having him there in a matter of like seconds to respond to anything on campus makes it like a million times safer than without him.
It seems that, he's had a positive impact from a lot of people, including even some people that don't go to school here anymore. Have you heard any negative interactions that he's had with students to make you believe that he's done anything wrong?
I've heard no negatives about him, honestly. It's only been ups about him.
So you don't know of any students that have complained about anything?
No students.
No. And how do you feel about the school board's response and decisions so far?
I feel pretty upset about it. They were bringing up a lot of points that I don't feel very aligned with what's actually happening at the school. They're not really considering students rather than their personal beliefs, which it's just really upsetting and sad to see.
How do you think the staff and most teachers feel about it? Is there a general consensus of where they stand?
From what I've heard about most staff, they really enjoy him, and they're very sad to see him go. I've seen him in a couple of classes throughout the last couple of days, and he's been talking to teachers. They've been smiling, laughing, so it sounds like he's trying to kind of make people smile through all of this.
Okay, so what are all the reasons so far that you have heard from the school board for his position being eliminated?
What we give him, like our information that we give him, could be used against us legally.
Like if you're confiding in him for whatever reason. If you're struggling with something and need somebody to talk to, they're afraid there's going to be legal consequences, essentially. So is that the only reason, or are there more reasons?
No. One of the reasons was budgetary issues, but I know Bothell PD pays over half his salary. Another reason was personal bias. I know that they said that they state.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think one of the
Hey,
quotes
there
was
was-
literally direct of, you guys elected me to represent you, but also to represent my conscience. And we're like, okay. So yeah, a lot of personal bias in there as well.
Yeah, another one was I was at the meeting and she had said that she keeps coming back to a story of segregation that her mom had told her in the 1950s when her black mom was drinking out of a white water fountain, and it was known to the students that no outside stories could correlate with the decision and anything. And so I just find it ironic how she shared her own personal story that she didn't live and somehow tied into Officer Ware when it made absolutely no sense, and that was her only reasoning.
Yes.
The story that keeps coming back to me today is my mom telling me about a time when she was young. And she and her family, a black family, went to visit relatives in Texas. Must have been in like the 50s. And she and her brothers were drinking from the whites only water fountain because they didn't know the difference. They didn't know that there were rules that they had to follow somewhere outside of their home. It concerns me that we are placing a police officer in a position as a confidant for students, encouraging them to tell him everything that concerns them or worries them when those things can be used against them legally and or others.
Okay, please, I'm asking you, this is hard.
It's really just based off of their personal biases and like past experiences, even though they haven't even experienced what it's like to have an SRO on campus or even tried to
Yeah, they
experience
haven't
it.
even came on campus
Yeah, like
to even see
he's
what
offered
he's
multiple
like.
times to come and shadow him, and they haven't.
Yeah.
Really?
Let
So
alone come to
he's
the school at all.
has
The
the
school has
shadowing.
invited him.
Really?
Or
So
all the
since
four
this has
board
been going
members.
down?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even
Really?
before,
And they've
they've
refused
invited
to
him
even
and they've
No
never
answer.
come.
No
Yeah.
answer.
Wow.
So it's kind of funny that when you want to reevaluate something, you think that you would go and evaluate instead of just hearing
Exactly.
what people are saying.
And
on
another
either
thing
side.
is he sends like detailed weekly reports every week to the school board about all the incidents he deals with, and he's yet to hear a reply, and he's been doing that for years.
Wow. So you feel like there's unresolved issues? Is it safety issues? What kind of issues do you think he's sending to the board?
I think anything that involves with like him having to like talk to a student obviously doesn't go into detail, but like, hey, this is how many incidents we've resolved or I've resolved this week, and it's just like a detailed report type of thing, and then he just sends it off, and he's yet to hear back from the board. The board says that they've read it, but have they actually read it?
And it's not even like big incidents or anything like that. And I've also heard that like he's been he's helped kids to try and like not go into like legal, like facing legal consequences, and like helping them try to get out of it, and like just for like smaller things, you know. And so it's like it's not even like big incidents or anything
Encouraging
like
to
that.
stay out of trouble,
Yeah,
but maybe
correct. So, yeah.
document it at the same time for
Yeah, he's
safety
like
of
trying to
everybody
help
involved.
them like kind of get out of that and stuff. So it's,
I've heard the same thing where he can, since he's a school resource officer and he works on campus, he can help people who have been in legal trouble find a better route away from that. So yeah, that's what I've heard too.
Good.
That he does.
And so for the issue where they're saying that they're afraid that he's going to share this confidential information, it's going to lead to legal issues. Have any of y'all heard any students complain about this happening?
No,
No.
I also think it's a little ironic because counselors do the same thing, and that's
Yeah.
what. I mean, I wouldn't say we're exactly replacing him
And
with.
teachers are, they're required informants. They
yeah.
have to inform somebody if something's happening. And I think that also the biggest thing is he's not walking around like Mirandizing every single person he talks to. And
Yeah.
even if they do say something, he hasn't Mirandized them, so it can't be used against him legally.
Right. It's more of a trusted
Right,
figure, adult figure in your
Yeah.
lives.
I
when
agree.
you confide in him, like you know like what you're getting yourself into. So it's like
We all have our we have a choice. to
Exactly,
talk to
yeah.
him, and we
Yeah.
all know what we're getting ourselves into. But
It's
it
not like
doesn't
he's
mean-
walking around prying for information
not
on a
at
daily
all.
basis, looking
He's
to
just
get you
trying
in
to help.
trouble
Like, if
and
it's
send you to
serious,
juvie.
like, yeah,
And he
Yeah.
doesn't come up to you first. He has you come up to him first. And even then, sometimes, like as a teenager, you just need someone to talk to, and he's literally that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's much scarier to talk to a counselor or a teacher, and a lot of people, including me, find him easier to talk to, for whatever reason that is. And so
Right.
by taking that away, you're taking away not just a police officer, but someone's role model, someone's like go-to person to talk to, or someone's safety person on campus.
I had a time when I was not being interrogated, but I was being talked to by our, I don't know if it was our vice principal, but it was my sophomore year. We had a bomb threat, and I knew the person who had posted it, and he was in there. He was the only person who I was able, like, wanting to talk to, because I just didn't feel like, I feel like they would have turned things on me otherwise, and so that's
Really?
why I was able to talk to him instead. And he ended up being the only person in the room that I was talking to, because I didn't feel comfortable with anybody else.
I think like the biggest example is like when people go down to QFC for lunch and they shoplift. QFC will call him instead of calling the police department, and then he'll bring the students back and handle with it in his own office, avoiding sending kids to, you know, juvie.
Escalating.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like next year,
Yeah.
You would think parents would want that as well, because
Right.
no one wants,
Correct.
they want to see their kid stay in
Learn-
line,
yeah.
but
learn a
not
lesson.
necessarily go to jail and cause a bunch of legal stink and,
Right.
you know, jeopardize their future and all
Yeah.
that. So he sounds like he's pretty cool. He's pretty
Yeah,
cool
that's what I was
dude.
saying earlier.
Yeah.
Is like he
Where-
finds alternate options instead
Yeah.
of other things to do, like sending them to juvie.
Yeah.
He plays
Next-
lots of different roles.
I mean, next year they're just gonna call the cops. and-
yeah, like there's
They
no
have
one
to.
for them to.
I mean, we
Yeah.
just got, there was just an announcement that came on the intercom that we just have to go into safe inside, which is essentially locked down without, you know, closing the window, or like, you know, everything being dark.
Mhm.
And so we obviously didn't know, but I wasn't, obviously I had some anxiety, but I wasn't too worried because I know that there's somebody here on campus to take care of it immediately. I don't have to wait 10 minutes for another cop to come
Mhm.
and get here on time, you know, because that makes a big difference, knowing that somebody's already here versus there's somebody that's driving here. Because then in that amount of time, there's, you know, so many things that could happen.
I totally agree.
Especially with a student that's not in a mentally good headspace,
Mhm.
you know, with a weapon.
Yeah. So, do you feel that if the school were to remove, well, let me ask this question first. How common are safety issues like that?
Not in this
They've
day
been
and
getting
age.
they've been getting more recent
Yeah.
at Bothell.
When a
you
lot of
know,
them could be what we don't even know about, and he's
right,
just
yeah.
handling
And
it
it's
with
just
no
handling
one knowing.
That's a good point.
internally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know and seen some that it's like just kind of a bigger
Yeah.
occurrence.
Do you fear that you know, the number of incidents would escalate even further if
I
there
mean,
was
if
no one
students
on?
know there's not an SRO on campus,
Yeah.
and yeah,
It
I
kind of
I,
It's a
mean, we
target.
had him on campus, and I think it was our 8th grade year, where the school kept on getting gun threats and bomb threats, and you know that's not a great
No.
thing to hear. And knowing that he was still on campus and that was happening, we don't know what's going to happen if he's not.
Right.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, there's not many schools in the area that are left with SROs.
We're the last school in the district to have an SRO, but I think it's also because we're the only school that has an open campus during all the times. Like,
Okay.
I might be walking around during lunch and I'll see a lady walking her dog or her
Yeah.
baby,
Like
On
you know,
campus?
on
Yeah.
campus,
Okay.
just right through the field, on the field.
Everything.
Although it doesn't seem like a crazy big deal, you literally never know.
It could be.
I
like,
agree.
Yeah.
Well, and
I'm sure a lot of your parents would agree with that
And
statement.
my
as well.
parents
Absolutely.
get weekly emails about how there was like an ambulance on campus whenever there is one, and it's like I never knew about that. Why? Because Officer Ware kept it as hidden as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so we don't worry.
Which seems like it aids with some privacy, realistically.
Yeah.
It keeps
Yeah.
some students under wraps to where, you know, maybe if they're having a bad day, they don't have to go through a super embarrassing ordeal of being drug out of the school in
Right.
handcuffs or something,
Right.
you know? It's
Well,
kind
and
of a
also they-
shield between.
They keep comparing us to the other schools that don't have SROs because they've eliminated them. The thing is that they've replaced the SRO with something like some sort of safety blanket. So like Winville got their SRO taken away, but all of their doors lock as soon as school starts. And so there's like a whole process, like if you're late to get into the office and stuff. And their campus is very enclosed. And our campus, like
Woodinville
she
has
said,
2 entrances. and
Only
I think
2
we have
doors and they
52.
lock.
You have what?
52 entrances. to the
We have
school.
2
At this school?
at this
Yes.
school, and the
they're
other
all
school
unlocked all day.
unlocked all day, and the other schools that don't have an SRO, one of them, as she was saying, only has 2 doors that like lock automatically.
Okay.
Once
And
school
so the
starts.
fact that we
Wow.
have 52 and they're deciding, even though people, like you said, we are a very open campus. Like we've had people up on the field while we're doing PE or something like
Yeah.
that. It doesn't matter what we're doing; they're still allowed on there. But
Yeah.
one wrong person.
Yeah.
And their excuse was that they're going to replace it with another campus supervisor.
But
which-
we already
What does that
We
mean?
have
we
exactly?
already have 2
We already have
campus.
2.
We already have 2 campus supervisors, and I think Officer Ware plays a bigger role than they do. Not just because he's a police officer, but you know because he's just someone you trust. Like I know the campus supervisors. I see them walk around and they deal with like little issues, but it's nothing compared to the role that Officer Ware has.
Yeah, he
Well,
has
okay.
he has a lot more that he can do rather than what they can do. He has more training and all like the other things that an officer can. And so I feel like the difference between just adding on another one who just puts tickets on our cars.
Yes.
Do you feel that students in general would rather go to him anyways than these
Probably,
supervisors?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, with him,
There's already a trend in that
There's
direction.
already a trend that people go to him more than they go to, I think, anybody else.
And he can give good advice that people who don't have a law enforcement background can't give.
when with him leaving, like they obviously would have a bigger role to play. But if there's something legal or something like crazy like happening, like who are they gonna call? They're gonna call the police to come.
Right.
So it's like they
Right.
can only handle things up to a certain point until law enforcement can come in. So
I also find that in a lot of situations, and I talk to Officer Ware a lot, just for fun, but he'll get called in and our two campus supervisors are already there, but they call him over because they need him. And so it just kind of comes to show how
Have those supervisors weighed in on how they feel about it?
Yes,
They-
at
I
the
think they
meetings,
agree.
At
one
the
of
meetings,
them,
yes.
one of them talked and was like, "I feel extremely uncomfortable taking him away." You know, he's like a partner with them. You know what I'm saying? Like the campus supervisors, I think they could do their job, but I don't think they could do it as well if you take away Officer Ware.
I just want to say on the campus supervisor part, the board doesn't even know how many supervisors we already have.
they think we have one.
They think we have one, we have two. So that just shows how much research they do before they make a decision.
Correct.
Yeah.
So adding a third one, it's like, that's what is that going to do? Like, there's
Right.
already two, you know? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's also like you're adding one, whoever it is, you're adding one that's like a new person to our school now. And
Yeah.
So it's
And you
like,
think anyone's going to go confide in that person?
No.
No.
No, it takes a while to build up trust, and he's been here for like 8 or 9 years. You know, that's 8 or 9 years that I've never heard anything negative about him. I've always heard that he's positive, that he's easy to talk to, and when you talk to him, he puts himself in your position, and he lowers himself down to a student level. He doesn't tell you things from like, you know, up here to down here. He puts himself down to your level, so
He's
he really
not talking
understands.
down to you.
Yeah.
I will say, unlike a certain board, he's not very power hungry.
correct.
Good. So do you think that the school board's taking students' and parents' concerns about removing Officer Ware seriously?
Are you kidding me?
We already
No,
know.
no.
No.
No,
at all.
I find it really annoying how, like, the first meeting, the second meeting, they were like, your voice is heard. I said this last meeting, it was obviously not heard. If they're hearing from all these students that we want him here and we need him and we're giving valid points, and they're not taking any of that into consideration because of their biases and because of their personal experiences that some of them didn't even live.
And what's funny is that at our last meeting, it was conversations with the board. It's usually like all spread out. You can go to different tables to talk to people, but all of the 4 board members who voted no were literally in a corner. And the one person who voted yes, the president, the president of the superintendents, or oh my gosh,
Of the board.
the president of the board. She was the one answering all of our questions. I wouldn't even say answering all of them. She would
For
kind
me,
of tiptoe around them or just not answer them.
For me,
at all.
she'd let me, like, you know, say whatever I had to say and move on to the next person. When I obviously asked for an answer, and she said that she speaks on behalf of the board, but you can't say that if these 4 people don't agree with you and you're the only one that agrees. You can't say that you speak on behalf of the board if you all disagree.
And our questions aren't for her. Like, our questions are for the people who voted no. Like, she
Just
already
sat there
said
the
yes.
whole time and went,
Yeah, and smirked. Like,
yeah.
It's like it's a game to them.
Do you feel like she's
Yeah.
in a hard position? Do you feel like she's actually on your side and she's fighting for you guys, or do you feel like maybe?
I feel like she is. I've heard things that she is, but I know that she has to follow policy and be very professional about it. Like, she can't
It's
obviously
hard,
sit here and
Side
side with us
Yeah,
all the
correct.
time.
Like,
Like, she can
agree
go
in
against-
front of all of them when she is supposed to work with them as a group.
Right,
It's hard
and she's
to
the
tell.
president too, so
Okay.
I know that, like, in general, most presidents will speak on behalf. So I know
Yeah.
that she's kind of in a hard spot with that.
You're just getting nowhere with it.
It's hard
nowhere
to tell.
with getting answers.
It's hard
nowhere
to tell because at like the first board meeting or like the second board meeting when she had voted yes, it was like, okay, we have one person on our side, but then it became more clear that she just hasn't shown any emotion or anything, that she's on our side or not on our side.
it just feels like they just needed a vote yes so that there wasn't 5 people saying no. Like, I feel like they already knew that it was going to be a no, but they needed that one to, like, make it a little bit less of, like, a hardship instead of just completely 5 people saying no, you know?
But I appreciated her vote and her
Absolutely.
speech because I think she was the only one that spoke out of her heart. Out of the other ones had pre-planned speeches. She was the only one that said it's my job to listen to the majority and listen to the students, and every student there voted for Officer Ware to stay. and everyone there voted for them to stay, and she was the only one that was like, it's my job as a majority in the students, because as a board member, that is your job. So doing anything other than that is just ridiculous, and having no reasoning for it is just also ridiculous.
Well, we don't really know her biases, which is a good thing. Like, she voted based off of what the students wanted, and it's like, she didn't bring any of her past experiences into it, you know? It's like, it's solely based on, like, what's happening right now, you know? Like,
she's the president, and she was the one that's been there the longest, and there's a reason that she's been there the longest, you know, is because she goes with what the people want, which is how it always should be.
So if y'all could leave any message for the board members who voted to remove his position, what would it be?
You gotta listen. That's your whole job. And, you know, it's frustrating as students who've been fighting for him for the past 9 years. Like, we do this every year, but the fact that we're having to really fight now.
Every year, so his job's been on the block for a while?
Last year was
Last
a
couple
3-2
years.
vote.
Yeah.
Last year
3-2, yes.
Part of his contract is they have to renew it annually.
Okay,
They say it's state law.
To the board, I'd say that we're not going to give up. Like, we're going to keep showing up at these meetings that we're not invited to. We're going to keep speaking, because you have to listen to us. You know, you can't just say one thing that's not even a real excuse and then leave it how it is. You know I'm going to keep showing up, and I'm going to keep saying my thoughts, because it's completely unfair. And I don't care if I have 1,000 students standing next to me or I'm by myself, I'm going to keep doing that, because that's what I believe in.
Yeah. I just feel like, how does this, like, what does voting no, like, affect you? How does that affect you? You're not the one who walks through our hallways every day with an SRO. You're not the one who might feel unsafe at our school at sometimes without an SRO or with an SRO. Like, you're not the ones who are going to what is that? What do you call that? You're not the one who's gonna
be affected.
Yeah, you're not the one who's gonna be affected the most by this. Like, you're gonna be sitting at your job. Like, we're the ones who are getting affected. So how does you voting no affect yourself? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I know when an emergency happens, they're not going to leave their desk and come here.
No.
And I know that these couple kids that feel uncomfortable with Officer Ware are also not going to protect me in any emergency situation. It's going to be Officer Ware. And so taking that away really hurts, because you claim that you want the best for us and you want us to be safe, but you're taking away the only person who keeps me safe the most.
You're putting our, like, safety at risk, like, with taking him away. And so it's like, you're safe, but you're taking our safety away.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that, you know, we elected you to represent us. We didn't elect you to represent yourself. I know that, like, a couple of them didn't win the positions they wanted in, like, a city council, and I feel like they're using that city council power as, like, a power trip to make these decisions based off their personal bias, and it affects a large group of people. And I feel like, again, if you look at, like, some of their mission statements on their websites, it's student safety first and let these students' voices be heard, but doesn't line up with their actions. And, you know, I also think it's ironic that, you know, we haven't seen any data from them on the students that have, you know, that are against the program. We haven't seen anyone speak out against the program at all. So we don't think it's fair that they get to make these assumptions based off that.
Also, I hope that they just reconsider now. That's our biggest thing. I mean, I hope
Have you gotten any inclination that that's going to happen at all?
I haven't heard back from them.
Well, no. They sent out an email like a couple days ago, and it was copy-paste, because I've sent 4 different emails to all of them, and it was the same one that my friend sent.
Like, this isn't a
You
game.
don't appreciate-
This isn't a game for our safety. This is
There's
for us, not for you.
I'm proud of you guys for taking it seriously. I
Someone's
think
got to take it.
everyone who's seen this story, I think, is very, very proud. And there's a lot of people that I know that are against walkouts, but they saw yours and they were like, good. You know, whole mom and dad knew about it, but good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
We have a sorry. No. Okay. You go.
Well, their excuse was that they just didn't want to put us through it again. But it's like, that's their excuse, is like, they don't want to put us through another vote, another no. But it's like, that's not their decision to make. Like, if you keep coming back every single time, we're asking for a revote, no matter if it's one yes. Like, that's not their decision to make for us, that if we go through it again. Like, we were wanting to go through it again. Like, as if we get closer, like, we want to go through it again.
It's one step closer, and it's worth taking the risk, even if it ends up being a no.
And if they did their jobs the right way, then it wouldn't be a no, because they'd be listening to the students and faculty and parents that are speaking for the program. Then there shouldn't be a no regardless, because overwhelming support for the program. And again, I think that ties back to them bringing their personal bias back into it. I know that if you go do research on their social media pages, it's a lot of anti-police.
I was going to ask, what do we think that their personal biases are?
No,
Anti-police.
Anti-police. I mean, obviously, Carson Sanders, the lady with the story of segregation that she didn't live, she said it was because her mom had a bad interaction with a police officer. And then I felt really hurt by them saying that Officer Ware would use my things against me legally once I left Bothell. You know, that you obviously don't know him at all. And I understand it gets to a point where you might have to tell somebody, but he would never just do that.
Yeah.
Well,
so they're kind of almost using fear-mongering in a way.
yes.
Yeah.
To try to create a problem that seems kind of, in my opinion, to not really even exist.
It's like they're trying to persuade us. Like, they're trying to persuade us to get onto their side of, like...
Which makes no sense.
Yeah.
You're going to have 1,000 students against 4 people.
You have 4,000
well, usually it would
signatures.
kind of
Yeah,
be the
on our-
opposite, too. Youth would kind of be hesitant of having,
Right.
an authority figure. And I think if he were probably one of the authority figures that were not so nice and kind to you guys, you probably wouldn't be fighting so hard for him to keep his job,
And
right?
I just want to say that, like, this isn't a political thing
Yeah.
at all. I've talked to people who are on the liberal side, I've talked to people who are on the conservative side who all want Officer Ware to stay because, again, he's more than a police officer. He's a mentor and a coach and a friend. But they're making it a political thing.
They keep saying that they have all these emails, and I'm asking to see if they have over 4,000 emails, because then I think it could be up for discussion if we keep him or not, because right now we have over 4,000 votes on our petition to keep Officer Ware. And I don't believe in any part of my mind that they have over 4,000 emails coming in saying that they feel uncomfortable.
Well, and the people that they say are uncomfortable, then why aren't they showing up to these meetings?
I think, I understand, I 100% agree with that. I think that if you were so passionate, like
we
how
are.
we are, that we should keep him. If you're so passionate that he should leave and you'd feel so uncomfortable, you should be at that meeting speaking on your behalf.
Obviously, like, you don't care enough to put in the effort then to get him out of here. So why not listen to the people who are in front of you? Like, why would you focus on, we took a survey and over 85% of the people said that they wanted to keep him. So why would you take the SRO away from over 85% of people instead of focusing on that 15% on how you can help them feel more comfortable with an officer? You know, like, having a police officer at school who is like so kind, so like nurturing, it's like it helps students to get a good relationship with police officers. Like, if you want them to go into the real world not fearing police officers, like, this is the way to do it. Like, he is so kind, and like, he's like literally at our prom, like he came to football games, you know, like, he doesn't have to go to those things, but he shows up because like he has a passion for the school. Like, he cares about all of us. So it's like, I don't know,
And it's hard to find someone like that.
Yeah.
You know, whether they're a police officer or not, it's hard to find people that like what they do, who care about other people, who want to keep other people safe and put themselves on the line to do it.
When he has
And
his
it
own
seems
family,
like you're saying, I think it's good to have a positive, authoritative law enforcement figure. But again, going back to it seems like they're trying to kind of make you guys more fearful. And I find that a little distressing hearing that.
Right.
I mean, I'm so grateful to have him here. Like, this is the only opportunity that I've had for the past couple years that I can physically say hello and talk to a police officer in real life and not be fearful of him, because I'm pretty sure after high school, or even if he leaves, that any of my interactions with police officers are not going to be as positive, period, or they're not going to be as positive as they are with him. You know, this is the one chance that everybody here has that they can have a positive relationship with a police officer, and you're taking that away. It's not fair.
And I think that probably their biggest argument is that it's just Officer Ware. Like, if someone else were to fill that position, either here or at another school. But I was on an internship with the sheriff's office for a little over a year, and I know people in Kenmore who would love to work at Inglemoor High School and do an SRO. I know people in Woodinville who would love to do it. I know cops all over that would love to do it. But, you know.
When they all get the same
It's
training.
not a personal thing against him.
Yeah.
You feel like it's not at all a personal thing against him. It's just a thing against, we don't want a police officer.
They said
on
it
our
wasn't
campus.
personal against him.
But
I think there's some part of them that it is personal, because if you see how people talk about him, if you were there at those meetings and you saw how these students and these parents talked about him, you would understand how passionate we are to keep him here, and that he's more than just a police officer. You know, and still seeing that and still thinking like we did everything we can and it's not enough, you know. it is enough, but in their eyes it doesn't make sense, and I will never understand that.
When he plays so many different roles in our school, not just a police officer's role. Like, yes, he is a police officer at our school, he's our SRO, but he has so many different hats that he wears like throughout the entire school year that it's like it makes him more than just a police officer to you. Like, he does so much more than that.
I mean, when's the last time you saw a cop playing music on Friday or playing hacky sack with a bunch of kids?
Being lipped up with a blonde wig. Like,
Yes.
even someone who doesn't like go here, like I sent them the petition, and they're like, yeah, like I don't even know him, I've never met him, but I've seen him at the football games, and he seems like such a positive impact on the community. Like,
he went to North Creek, and they're lipped up with them.
Really?
And they love him.
Yeah,
Like, I have teammates who go there, and they're like, dude, why are they trying to get rid of him? I'm like, I have no idea.
And even after he got voted no, he was standing at these benches here after first period, blasting his music, passing out Starbursts and lollipops with nothing but a smile on his face the next day after he got voted no. Like, I think that just shows that person is. He wasn't sad. I mean, I'm sure he was internally, but he wasn't showing it on his face for us, because he cares about us so much. And that just says so much about who he is as a person.
I'm sure he's just as saddened as all of you are.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But he does a really good job of not showing it because, again,
he wants to be strong for us.
He's worried about how we're feeling about him getting voted off. Like, not about, like, it's all about us. Like, he really puts other people before himself, really.
And that's about the most you could ask for an SRO,
Yeah,
right?
it's like, I don't know how it could get even any better than this, like, honestly. Like, he's just such an amazing person.
I don't think anybody could exactly replace him.
No.
too. When they said he's just Officer Ware, it's not like, just Officer Ware. Like, he is a part of our school. He's a part of our community. He's helped to build this school to, like, where we are and all that kind of stuff. And so I feel like just saying that we could replace him just like that is unacceptable.
Yeah, it's not realistic.
No.
He said, so the board claimed that they did it for students of color. He said, where are the complaints if it's true? And are there students of color at the school who want the SRO gone?
No.
Who came forward?
I know I've been speaking with our Black Student Union president, Malik, and he's done a couple interviews on like Q13 already. And he's like, I haven't spoken to anyone who said anything. And he's like, I'm ashamed of the board that they would make like such accusations.
Because it's an excuse what they're saying, because I've been to all the meetings speaking. He's been to Malik, the person talking about, has been to all the meetings speaking, and he's saying don't use this as an excuse. There were, I think, 3 or 4 Hispanic mothers that do not speak English as a first language, and they spoke Spanish in front of the board and had a translator there speak to English, saying do not use this as excuses. You know, and I mean, I think that goes to show, because how hard is it, you know, as students to go up there and speak about it in the first place, and then having to speak about it in a second language, knowing that nobody can understand you. Like, that takes so much courage, you know, and I'm so proud of them for doing that, you know, and it's like they literally said it's not your fault. You know,
no one has come forward, like, you know, like, I obviously understand, like, keeping it, like you don't want to say their names or anything, but like there's like they haven't said anything of what anyone's actually said. Like, there's no proof, there's no evidence that they're giving us that actually shows that. Like, they're keeping it confidential is what they're saying, but you can keep it confidential while still giving us information on why. Like, there's no why to it.
And so, I mean, for the past couple of meetings that we weren't invited to, we've just still shown up, you know, because we care, and I think they expect us to the board expects us to fizzle out and give up, but we're not gonna give up. You know, we're gonna keep going to show them that we care, in hopes that it will change their mind, because this is that big of a deal to all of us.
Okay, so you all y'all plan to go on Tuesday?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
Yes.
And I'm guessing more students would be involved
Oh,
in that.
100%. 100%.
That might be something I try to come out and
faculty,
report and cover too.
And you can sign up to speak for 3 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, you can sit there and you can watch them just. I mean, you could just
I
film them.
might have to come do that. I've sat in a couple school board meetings. They're always interesting at the very least.
Well, it'll be interesting.
This
one will be interesting.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to send you the video of us booing them out of there.
Yeah.
So if you guys could leave a message for Officer Ware, what would it be?
We love you.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping us. We're gonna fight for you, no
Our
matter
school,
how long it takes.
Are you literally making a huge impact on our school? And it doesn't matter who comes in to replace you. You're never ever gonna be replaced because of how much you've because of how.
Much of an impact.
Yeah, because of how much of an impact you've made on our school.
It's just like you're such an important part of like every person's lives here, and like just like seeing parents even come forward and try and fight to it, like that's like that speaks so loudly about how much impact you have, because that means kids are going home and speaking to their parents about like you, and like they can see how well like he's like our community is benefiting from him. And so like he makes such a huge impact that like people just like, don't see sometimes, but it's like it does so much for us. It's there, like, yeah.
It sounds like the students, the teachers, and the parents
All want
are
him.
very well
Everyone
aware of
wants
the
him,
impact.
Yeah.
except 4 people on the school board.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Or
literally have seen us talk.
anonymous complaint.
Right.
But
Yeah.
they won't show us the
From
data, and I mean, what else do you want me to think? I mean, I think that there's probably, they have zero data, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I don't think they have anything. I think they're saying that as an excuse, which is unfair to me, and it's unfair to my peers, you know, my teachers, my friends, you know?
I think a lot of spidey senses are tingling, you know, when they
Right.
see the video,
Yeah.
like, well, hold on, what's going on here? I can't
Yeah.
tell you how many
And I mean,
private messages I've gotten from just adults across the country. Wait, there has to be more to this. And I'm like, look, you
There's-
can dig
yeah.
all you want.
There's
I've been
nothing.
digging
Like,
into it for the
there's
past
really
couple
nothing.
days.
I've tried.
This is weird.
This is
You know?
everything we have.
I mean,
like,
you can watch the board meeting where they voted no, and you can, like, I mean, it's right there. They say their reasons why, and I feel like they forgot that they're being recorded when, you know, Kimberly Kelly's like, I stand with my views on social justice, so I'm voting no. Well, we didn't elect you to vote on your views. We elected you to vote on our views.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, same with the rest of them.
Well,
So
adding
are you
on to
guys
that,
hoping that they might be recalled?
Oh, yeah.
We are
100%.
starting that process
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
Somebody at the last meeting asked, like, what are you going to do now that this trust is broken? And they completely ignored it. And by then, I think it clicked in everyone's mind that these 4 people are getting, you know, unelected.
And I hope they're fearful for that. Like,
Because it's
now
happening.
they're scared. Like,
I hope they know
This
that
story is
we know
going-
that they're using
yeah.
their power
Right.
to
Yeah.
they're
their
just power
full
hungry.
advantage.
Well, in that the board meeting they sat there for 2 hours with their scripts already written, with their decisions already on their scripts.
That's what I'm saying.
Literally, you hear
my
at the
voice
beginning.
wasn't heard.
You hear
Yeah.
at the beginning, like, where's my script? I can't find it.
Crap, where's my script? Oh, I shouldn't talk like that. I know. I promise not to do anything nearly as dramatic as last meeting.
And they wasted our time for 2 hours. They sat there for 2 hours listening to countless speeches, and
I mean,
they already had their decision made. The
Kids
vote
were
was already made.
like, kids were crying and
Yes.
giving these deep stories, and they're just sitting there. We hear you. Your voices are heard.
No, they're not.
No.
No, it's not. Because
no.
you're reading off a pre-planned speech saying no. It makes no sense.
Like, just listen and like
No.
answer questions. Like,
And you
every
can-
answer is so like trying to tiptoe away from it, like trying to like move it onto something else, or like such a vague answer. It's like, just answer our question.
In the videos, you can hear at the last, like the lady that said no, that determined the losing vote, you could physically hear the crowd screaming, shame on you, and you suck, you know, and all these negative things, which I think they deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, they deserve all that.
Because again, they're failed city council
Right.
members, they're failed politicians, but they claim they're politicians, and then they use the power of a politician to make decisions based off their views on something that shouldn't be political.
They're just
Not
power
representing
hungry.
the
Power
people.
hungry, yes.
Yeah.
they're
It's
power
not,
hungry.
no, they're not representing the people at all.
They're
And
trying to
we
find
elect
anywhere that
them.
they can have power.
And we elected them. My parents elected them to vote for us, you know, to do what we want, because that's your job, is to do what the majority wants and what the students want.
Because on
And
paper
didn't
they
do
look
that.
good.
So do you feel like all of your parents would be willing to vote to recall them?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yes.
My
My
parents
mom
are
already
speaking
said
about
she
it right
is.
now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I've never seen my parents be so okay with me skipping class.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Mhm.
And we're gonna do as much as we can to get our power back and get our officer back.
Good for you.
I
Good for
also
you.
wanted to bring up a point. My mom was kind of reading off some of the things that parents were saying about our walkout, which were more negative sides. We did lose a student recently to gun violence, and a lot of people were like, why aren't you focusing on this? Instead, you're focusing on trying to save your officer. Well, that was gun violence, and our officer is the only reason we'd be able to save ourselves from gun violence. And in this day and age, especially with everything that's been going on, like UW, this is our only way that we are having a higher chance of safety. And I feel like it's really upsetting to hear from adults who don't even go here, from adults who, like, I forgot the woman's name on the board. Who,
Carson Sanders?
Yeah, Carson Sanders, whose mom is completely against police officers, because that was way back in her age. Things have changed now. Like,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, things have really changed with schools.
It's needed.
school
A police
shootings.
officer is needed. If you look up the stats in Washington, in any state of shootings, they've gone up significantly in the past 10 years. And coming from parents who, like, those board members have kids. What if it was your kid that called you and said, hey mom, I'm in lockdown. Hey dad, I'm in lockdown. Like, what would you think? You know what I'm saying? He's our only source to a higher safety. And I will never understand why you'd want to take that away.
They're not the ones being put in that position. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
So is there anything that I haven't asked you about or anything that you want to share?
We're not going to give up.
yeah.
You know, like they have it coming for them. You know, we're not going to give up. You know, we're going to keep showing up and we're going to keep doing everything we can. You know, it's all we can do and we're going to keep doing it.
Good.
And if they're gonna point out about the seniors leaving and how this won't affect them, a lot of us have siblings who are
Right.
coming in. Me and Nils
Yeah,
have
I've got a younger brother
as
who'll be
well.
here next year.
mine too.
Yeah.
He's got
Like,
a brother. Yeah.
That's all I can think about is the fact that he's gonna be here. And if someone isn't there to protect him,
And
especially-
he's being robbed of the experience that you guys have had,
Exactly.
being able
Yeah.
to bond with, you know, an authoritative figure.
He's
Well,
met
even
him
if I
at the
didn't have a
football
sibling,
games,
like,
and he's like,
yeah.
"Oh, you're Kayla's brother. Like, that's great." And then like starts
Yeah.
talking to him because we all have built that bond, and if we're related, they're gonna get that too.
The bottom line is that this program was put for a reason. You know, people just don't, you know, come up with it out of nowhere if it's not needed. It's put in place because it's needed, and you shouldn't have the right to just take it away because your beliefs don't line up with everybody else's beliefs.
I think that, like, my message would be one, it takes one nut job to read the news and say, ooh, Bothell PD or Bothell High School doesn't have a school resource officer anymore, and do something stupid. And two, this isn't a political thing. It's never
it's
about,
not.
this has never been about politics. This has been about keeping a community member from, keeping a Bothell community member where he belongs, but they're making it a political issue. And I think that's leads back to why this walkout got so much attention, is people are realizing that this isn't a political thing. This is, I mean, it is, unfortunately, because they're making it a political thing, but this is just us trying to fight to keep someone in our community.
Somebody that we care about and that we love.
Yes.
Obviously. So I do have one follow-up question to what you just said. When they're talking about removing them, and you guys have told me that your campus is open in multiple
Yes.
locations, has there been any chatter at all from the school board or any of the administration with plans to lock the campus? Like,
I don't
lock
know.
these doors so you
I
can't
don't,
just...
Like
I
I
don't know
said,
how we're gonna do it.
I asked
No.
them at our last meeting. I said, "What is your plan? Like, what are you putting in place of our SRO? Because if you're taking away our SRO, you need something, a blanket, some sort of blanket of safety." And all they said was another campus supervisor. They didn't say anything
And
about
she
locking
even
doors.
brought up the point that, you know, another high school close by has the automatic lock doors, and they
They just
completely
said
ignored her
nothing.
question.
Yeah.
Like, they ignored my statement too when I asked what's the root of this problem, because it's not budget cuts, it's not racism, it's not that he has a gun, you know. They completely
I may need to go to the school board and ask them a few questions too. They ain't
I mean,
gonna
they're not
answer
gonna
They're not
you,
going to
but-
answer you,
Yeah.
but
They
if you
won't
go and
answer,
get
but
your
I can
point
get it on
across,
camera, me asking them
Yeah,
questions.
and them just sitting there and
and then
you
they're sitting
know,
there,
yeah.
and you post that and it'll go viral and then it'll come back.
Well, it just surprises you. Like, you see your face on all of these boards. You see your face all over the news. First thing that you see when you open up Google, and you're not embarrassed. You're not ashamed of yourself. Like,
Yeah.
you're just sitting there with your smirk still. Like, how? Like, I don't understand. Like, if my face was publicized like that, I'd be.
I imagine they're not even seeing it.
No,
It's
They're
embarrassing
probably
for them.
avoiding. If they're sitting in a
Yes.
corner during a meeting, I imagine they're
Yes, they're
probably
trying to
All I
avoiding.
want
it.
to say is once this goes national, you can't avoid it.
No.
No.
Let's get in there.
I know.
Everyone's
I know.
going to know about
Keep
this.
doing what you're doing.
Everyone's
be
gonna know
peaceful.
about this.
Keep using your
Right.
voice, doing it the right way, and it'll continue.
Yeah.
No, we haven't been aggressive. I felt like the walkout was great. I feel like there was no issues.
It's respectful. Yeah.
And I wasn't trying to insinuate that it was.
No,
yeah.
I'm
No,
saying,
I'm
just
not.
continue that
But,
same
like,
energy,
yes,
and you'll
for
continue
sure.
to
Like,
get
you'll
more and
see
more
some
support.
situations where people can take it a further step, and like, I understand the anger, but we'll never take it that far. But we're just trying to be heard.
Because that's what they want. They
Yes.
want us
Yeah.
to take it to that step where then we
So
look
then
like
we
the
look
bad
bad.
guy.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Don't
we're not
let
going
them
to
do that.
Like,
Yeah.
we're just
We're
trying to
not
get our
going
voices
to.
heard. Like, I feel like the more respect that we have, the more respect that we show for them, like, they're gonna, like, hopefully listen more, you know? Like,
Yeah.
that's all we're
I mean,
trying to
at
do is just get
meetings,
them
it's
listen.
really hard to contain all your anger, and I obviously haven't done the best job at that. Like, I let things fly, you know, I say how I feel, but I'm such a firm believer in respect goes both ways, and they've not
Absolutely.
shown respect to me at all. I don't see why I should give respect to them, because they think that they're higher than me on some hierarchy, but we're all the same level. We're debating over the same thing.
Well, it started out respectful. Everyone was saying so, like, respectful things at the board meeting, but then all of a sudden,
They
like, you
started
decide
it
to be
first.
disrespectful.
Yeah.
Like, what do you expect in return?
They used my word against me, saying that I trust him. Now you are taking it to a whole different level, saying that he's gonna take my information that I give him and make it something illegal. You know, that's unfair. You know, that's so unfair.
And I think that's like, even like the superintendent who recommended they keep the program, we've rarely seen.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. We've rarely.
Those are my allergies.
You're good. We've rarely seen the board go against what the superintendent recommends, and we can see he's upset. And he even acknowledged at the conversation with the board, his words were, "We understand that there's trust that's been broken, and we understand that there's issues," but they don't seem to understand that.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Excuse me. Sorry.
All good.
Have we left anything out that's important to you guys?
I'm sure we'll always have more.
There's
so
always
if you feel
more,
like
yeah.
you want to come back,
Okay.
Yeah.
please let us know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure everybody knows, it's been all over the news, that the Northshore School Board voted to eliminate the SRO program at Bothell High School. And my son is a senior at Bothell High School, and I'm going to have an incoming freshman next year. And the SRO program, Officer Ware himself is amazing. The kids can speak to that, but I'll speak more just to the SRO program as a whole. Having that presence on campus and also just in the neighborhood. We live in this neighborhood and I go walking every day, and he kind of patrols the neighborhood and he's out and about. So besides school, I think it makes the neighborhoods feel safe. If there's a car accident a block away, he's still the first one there. He's the closest one. He does he's more than just a police officer with a gun on campus. I mean, my son's going into law enforcement when he graduates, and he's been a mentor to him and helped give him some guidance. He's also a veteran, and he's also guided a lot of students that want to go into the armed forces post high school on weighing their options and talking to them about that. I know that he has helped children in mental health crises. I know he's helped children that have overdosed on campus. He has stopped children from committing suicide, on top of all the fun things he does. So he also could be that person that might stop you before you make a bad choice, or, kind of steer you in a different direction, besides just being a cop on campus with a gun. And so the parents are just really upset that that presence isn't going to be here anymore. Campus supervisors, campus safety officers are great for what they can do, but they are dealing with parking issues and
Phones getting taken in
phones
class.
getting, confiscating phones in class and stuff like that. Like, if you go drive around this campus, like we said, it's a really open campus. The baseball and softball fields are up there. There's parking. There's many. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I cut through the campus sometimes when I walk, but
There's
it's
52 exits, and 52 ways to get into the school.
yeah. And so campus supervisors are only going to be able to do so much, So it's
So
a
what are
different
the
situation.
parents? So what are the parents doing about it? What are y'all's plan to help the students
So
fight to keep Officer
there's
Ware?
groups of parents and some administration here at the school that have started doing the research and gathering data and stats and information on filing an appeal. And then there's also a group of parents that are also getting all of the information together to file a potential recall. And we're going to hopefully file paperwork with the county in the next couple weeks. So it's a lot of just kind of information gathering right now while we're trying to get it all together. But parents are really fired up. And the cool thing is about this whole thing is it's brought both sides of the political spectrum together in this issue. So whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, conservative, liberal, whatever you want to, it's brought everybody together. People that normally I might argue with on social media about politics we're all liking and commenting, and everybody's got the same goal right now. And so the school board has made it a political and racial issue, and it shouldn't be.
As a parent, how do you feel about them making it a racial issue? Do you feel like it may be causing more problems to try to convince students that there's some sort of invisible issue on camera or on campus involving race?
If you can watch the YouTube video of the vote, it's online. Han Tran, one of the board members, her exact words is they're owed something more equitable.
everyone. I'm not able to support the renewal of this contract because this district owes our community something more comprehensive, more equitable, and more empowering to all community members.
Okay.
And then one of them said they want something more inclusive, and like we were saying, they're citing Jim Crow laws and
experiences from the 1960s that their parents had. Again, that's policing the 1960s. That's a lot different than it is right
So
now.
then this meeting we had this past Monday, there was a Hispanic mother that showed up with her translator asking, she spoke and said she was representing the Hispanic community at Bothell High School and wanted to know what happened to the 30 letters that 30 different Hispanic families sent to the school board in favor of keeping the program. They didn't respond to one of those 30 letters. So they're making it a racial issue. Like, the different communities at this high school are incredibly in favor of keeping the program. There was a survey that went out prior to the vote, and I think it was 77% of the
85.
survey was in favor of keeping the program. So they have no data, they have no stats to back up their votes. You watch the meeting, it's so clearly their own bias, and if you dig deep into their own personal social media pages and see what they do on their free time, it's pretty clear.
Could you have him send me their social media?
Yeah,
pages?
I have them. I've been posting them on. So I started the Facebook page and the Instagram page for recalling the school board, and I've been doing screenshots of some of their.
Sounds like I need to follow you too.
Yeah, some of their
Can
stuff.
you send me her when we?
Yeah. And that one of them ran, Kimberly Kelly. One of the top 3 priorities on her school board election campaign was school safety, but she voted no.
Womp womp.
Right.
Because this is kind of opposite. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One board member, Elizabeth Sotak, years past has always voted in favor of keeping the program, and this is the first time she's voted against the program. And had
Is there any idea why that vote may have switched?
I would assume that the others probably got in her ear. Now that I've witnessed these people together and how they interact with each other, they kind of have this hive mentality, and they're 4 women, and they just, like I said, they sat there with these smug looks on their faces on Monday night and didn't answer one question. And people were asking the questions directly to those 4, even just looking for clarification. They wouldn't speak. And they've stopped responding to parents. They've stopped responding to students. Sandy Hayes, the president of the board, has one cookie cutter email that she keeps copying and pasting and sending to people. I know a dozen people that have gotten the exact same email that I've gotten.
I can
word
send
for
you,
word.
I can send you the email.
Word for word email.
Anything you have, I'm willing to look through it and piece it together in a big long story.
So I think they're just trying to make it a racial issue, and they're trying to make it a political issue, and it's not.
Do you think that perhaps they're trying to make it a racial issue because of the climate that we live in this state, thinking if they cite that it's a racial issue, that they may actually get support and less people who are questioning their reasoning?
I think
less
so.
pushback? Do you think it makes
so,
people scared to push
But
back?
I also don't think they realize that we see right through their bullshit. We see that they're bringing their political agenda, and they're trying to force their political agenda on everyone else.
If you go, we'll send you look up their names and just do a search. If you go look at their election websites and see who's endorsed them when they were running for school board, some of that might speak for itself too. So, but it's their own personal agendas. Han Tran ran for Bothell City Council, lost, and then ran for the Northshore School Board position. And on her Facebook page, right under her name, it says politician. She's a wannabe politician with some pretty radical ideologies. She regularly attends pro-Hamas rallies.
Leads them.
So she's extremely radical.
So teachers aren't allowed to do anything publicly or speak up, but the school board members can.
Yep.
That's interesting.
So it's just some of the stuff I found when I've been starting to dig.
Okay.
So
that's stuff I'd be interested in seeing.
Gotta dig.
For sure.
Yeah. They are not listening to the majority whatsoever. But like I said, they provided no data, no stats, just some anonymous conversations or some anonymous emails. But I don't know if it's a certain demographic that they're speaking to. But I participated in the walkout on Monday, and it was really cool. There was every ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation. I mean, the special needs kids were walking. There was lesbians holding hands walking. There was
African American kids or Hispanic
the
kids.
everybody was represented in that walkout. So I truly don't understand who they're protecting or who they're like referencing. It's got to be just a handful of
They
kids.
say no. They've said in the past that it's community members and old students. They are not allowed to bring in community members and old students because it doesn't affect them. It affects the
Yeah,
people
if they're
at
bringing
the school.
in data and information, it has to come from Bothell High School. It can't come
Not
from like
neighborhoods, not from
neighborhoods and the
students.
people that live like in the surrounding area or the, you know, this community. I think with a lot of the voters are like older people, and they fortunately and unfortunately are voting on school board members, and that is something.
And some may
really
not
gets
even
stuck.
have kids in the school who are.
The school
understand
board
what's
members
going on.
don't have kids in the
Some
school.
do, some don't. Most of
Oh,
them now
well,
do. The
yeah.
old school board, half of them didn't even have kids in the school district.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 of these school board members are up for re-election in 27. 3 of them are up for re-election in 29. But our goal is to do
Just
a
get 'em
recall
all
and
off.
get them off now.
Yeah. Do you think if you were to do a recall, do you have faith that the community would actually recall them and
Yeah.
there'd be enough people?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no,
You're good.
I think so, yeah. So just based off the conversations we've had, I mean, people are ready to go knock on doors and get signatures and do
Good.
the work. So
Good.
from like the way we're reading it, we have to get 35%, I believe, of the voters in that particular election
District.
school district. We have to get 35% of the vote signatures.
Right.
So, I mean, the only thing that's on our favor is that it's fairly low turnout because they're not big election years when they ran. So it could be anywhere from like 8 to 10,000 signatures, and I think we have like 180 days to get it, and we'll get it.
Plenty of time. Yeah.
Plenty of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Everybody take a sheet, get 100 signatures,
Yeah.
and we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
So, and there was a person from Woodinville High School that reached out to me today, and they're like, we're keeping an eye on what's going on because they lost their campus resource officer in 22. Different school board members, I believe, at the time. But
A couple.
if you go on,
SOTAC and San Diego board.
yeah, there was 2 of the current board members were on that
But
board.
they voted yes.
But they voted yes to keep it, and the other 3 at the time didn't. So Elizabeth Sotak is the one that flipped this year, which was really interesting. So,
So do you think that there's anything that the broader community can do to help you guys out?
well, when time comes, we're going to need signatures.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure. And just keep the momentum going. I think on social media, it's getting a lot of attention. The parents are pretty activated right now in a good way. Like the momentum is clearly going. So I think when it's time to, if we get all the recall paperwork in and everything and we're a go, it's going to be boots on the ground, the signatures gathering.
And I
Will be
think
the
this
biggest
just
priority.
needs a lot of media attention because it's going to get to the point where they can't ignore it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right? You know,
they're
it's
refusing to
it's-
even answer emails.
It's
now.
starting to become national.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, it's been on a couple big platforms. And our goal is just to get it where it's on all the big platforms, and then they literally can't ignore it. But then the voters in their districts here will say, "Oh, well, that's weird. I voted for this person, but they're going against what I voted for them for."
Yeah.
For the record, I didn't vote for any of them. Let me just make that clear.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Clear
I mean,
conscious.
yeah, and it's interesting, like the fact that it's not a budget issue. Like we spoke to a legal team, and this one lawyer was like shocked that it wasn't a budget issue because he's like, if it was a budget issue, this would make sense, right? You don't have as much ground to stand on if it's a budget issue, but they've made it very clear that it's not a budget issue,
Right.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
So
It's an odd situation.
it's just weird. Like
Yeah.
weird is like probably the most perfect way to describe it. Like
Yeah.
they just, but when you watch them, it's so obvious. I mean, it's just the superintendent, they went against the superintendent's recommendation. They went against the principal's recommendation. So it's not just parents and students, like other administration in the district, they went against them, which to me just speaks volumes.
Yeah, I agree.
They hold all
It's
the
like,
power.
who are you representing if you're not representing basically anybody?
They
So,
hold all
but,
the power and they know it, and that's what's so frustrating. And so now they're just buried their heads in the sand and they're refusing to speak to anybody.
Well, that is frustrating because we're talking about a bunch of
We're
kids'
talking about
safety,
public
a ton
officials
of
here.
kids' safety.
I mean, God forbid something happen, but when it does, the blood's on their hands. Oh,
Yeah.
Carson Sanderson said that she couldn't vote yes to keep the SRO program, just she voted on her own conscience. How's her conscience going to feel if something happens at this high school?
Yeah.
Something did happen at this high school. A kid brought a kitchen knife and tried to,
So
use it on
you're
staff and
voting on
students.
conscience, and you're voting because you want something more equitable. Those are the reasons.
So is there anything you would like to share with whoever's watching?
Just we need all the support we can get to keep this going in the media. And like I said, when it's time for signatures, they'll come knocking on your door, and the school board should just be ashamed of themselves. It's so embarrassing. I mean, and like a neighboring school district, they're like, we're so jealous you even have an SRO. And I'm like, wouldn't it be great to be the envy of neighboring school districts and not an embarrassment?
Right.
So embarrassing.
Right.
So it's just, the whole thing is so unfortunate. But I cannot be prouder of these kids though. These kids have just really, they're really well spoken. They came in to that vote with great speeches, and they just diminished all of them.
They're taking it seriously for sure.
No,
It's a serious topic. And it's a
yeah,
serious
but the
issue.
board just diminished everything those kids had to say. They came in with pre-written speeches. Like, their vote was already made up. I'm not even sure Sandy Hayes really voted yes because she believes it, or if they were like, all right, somebody needs to vote in favor just so it doesn't look so bad. So I don't even know. I mean,
No, she's voted yes, kind of regardless every year. And I mean, she was the only one who had the.
I'm like, why does it feel like everyone's flying by all of a sudden?
They are.
Sorry.
sorry, that was a total.
Yeah, it got a
Anyway,
little
Where's
loud.
Officer Ware when you need him?
Yeah.
Kidding.
Yeah.
So Sandy Hayes, she votes based on what the people who show up to the board meetings and what they represent. She's done that since 2007. And people have gone back and watched board meetings where it's like, okay, the majority is here in favor. I'm voting based off what they want. That's how it should be. And it should have been 5-0 yes. That's how it should be every year. All questionable things they've said, very questionable things off the record. Like, I know people have sat down for coffee with them, and certain members have said, well, I have kids that'll be here in the next couple of years, and I just don't want to see that police car in the parking lot when I'm dropping them off.
Like off-record conversations.
Off-record conversations. There have been board members that have said, I just don't want to see that cruiser in the parking lot while I'm dropping my kids off in the morning.
Sounds like some pretty extreme bias.
It's so obvious.
It's
Like I
so
said,
obvious.
it's so obvious.
Even on video, they literally say, I'm voting on my own conscience. I'm voting based off my beliefs. I'm voting because I want this to be more equitable. I believe, and my conscience. Those are their things. We want them to be on our things.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous that we have to sit here and plead with them and fight them every year because they're biased.
Yeah.
And they're not listening to their community.
Well, when you have high schoolers and one of their mothers willing to stand and talk to a lady with 2 phones outside the high school at 6 o'clock in the afternoon,
So
you know
exciting.
they care.
Yeah.
No, y'all got better things to be doing. Everybody
I
does.
have nothing but time,
Yeah.
resources, and connections. So
Yeah.
we got nothing but time. We're just
Good.
gonna keep on going. So
Good.
got a lot of mom friends that are ready to go. So
Anything y'all feel like I missed? Anything you feel you want to say? Or
No, just feel free to send anyone our way if they have other questions.
for sure.